All right, we're recording. I'm going to welcome everybody to Energy Readings with Shelby Aesthetic tonight. My guest is Jen Young. We'll get to her in just a second. All right, so we didn't do anything last week, so I just kind of want to tell you a little bit about what's coming up. I don't have the dates scheduled for everything, but I do have some more guests that I'm going to be having on. So we'll be talking to somebody that does energy work and somebody that talks to animals, and we'll have all kinds of stuff planned. It's going to be really neat. There's also some other stuff going on IntuiTalks. That's where we're broadcasting from. It's a pretty cool website. There's 1,000 members strong so far. But there's several shows coming up for the rest of this week too. Curious Times, they have shows really regularly, almost every night. She's going to have Selva on Friday and Corrine is on Saturday. And then there's Angel Meadows coming up too on the 24th with Alan Wright. So there's a bunch of other shows coming up, more to be scheduled, I'm sure. So kind of check some of that stuff out. And if you're actually looking for a place to do a podcast or to start a show or do your blog or anything like that, IntuiTalks is a great network, so check it out. There's actually a couple of recent blog posts that I just finished reading too. One of the new shows is with this lady named Becca. She's really excellent. She's got several blog posts on there, and then Renee Richards has something posted on there too. So you guys definitely check it out. There's always tons of spiritual information on IntuiTalks. It's where I met all the cool people. So tonight we're going to be talking to Jen Young. I actually met Jen Young. I want to say it was through a show on IntuiTalks. I think the first time I heard her, she was on Chris's show, I want to say. Anyway, she's just a really neat lady. She's from Canada. She's I would say a plant and animal enthusiast, but she's more, I don't know, environmentalist would probably be a good word. I always call her Mother Nature's protector. She's she's an all-around amazing person. She's a psychic medium. She has grandbabies. I mean, she's so busy too all the time. So let's bring Jen on. I'm going to unmute you, Jen. Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. This is a smooth system they have set up.
It is. The layout's a bit different. I'm not used to it, but that's okay. There we go. So it's all good. It's good to see you. It's good to be here. And it was Curious Times.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. And then And then you did another show there for a while that I listened to on
Paramania, yeah.
Paramania, yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't done any shows for a long time. So
you're kind of. Are you just taking a break, or are you just wanting
I'm
to
taking
do
a break, and I was sort of burnt out. I guess I was burnt out, and then I really got sick. I didn't see much of April at all. I think you're well aware of that. I got got a cold and then bronchitis and then strep throat. I don't know, got pneumonia. I really took a kicking there, and back full strength and enjoying life. So, and the sun is out. The sun is out here in Canada, up where I am. And when the sun is out, I am out of the house. It's hard to get me back inside.
Yeah, I understand that.
So if I had my laptop up and running, I would be outside doing this. So
yeah, that's actually a really good idea. You live in a really beautiful area too. I've seen some of the pictures that you post on Facebook. I mean, it's gorgeous. I would be out there hiking all the time too. It's stunning, and the wildlife. I mean, was it a bald eagle that you took a picture of the other day? Man, that was the coolest thing. That was so neat.
Yeah, we've got them actually quite regularly. I get so enthused every time we see one. We'll be on our back deck, and one of our dogs, I've got both of them around me right now, one of them always sees them and he barks and he chases them. He tries to fly through the sky to get the birds. And
Let him know
so
who's
we're
boss.
always, you look up and it's either, a vulture or a turkey vulture or a bald eagle. It could be a golden eagle but they're usually the bald eagles.
Man,
And
that's so
then,
cool.
We were down, I took the grand girls, the ladies as I call them, for the big guy was walking the mountain the other day. And so I said to the ladies, let's go meet the big guy. And I said, if you look, you'll see him coming down the mountain. And so they were really excited. And so we walked down to the tracks. The train tracks run beneath our property. And they're not used right now. It's inactive railway. And so we get down there, and it's a bit of a hike, but not too bad. And there's lots to explore when you're little. And so we get on the tracks, and we're having a drink of water and a little snack, and we turn around, and way down the tracks, and Ron goes, "Look at that!" And we look, and there's a black bear crossing.
Oh my God.
And it looks at us, and we look at it, and I'm thinking, this is marvelous. It's far away that it's not going to do anything. And the dogs haven't smelled it yet. So the wind's going the other direction. And the dogs are older now. But the girls looked like they were just like, wow, because they could see it.
That is
and the
so
bear took
cool.
a look at us, and it stopped, and then it just ran into the bush so fast. Like it was like, oh, I've been caught. And we just started laughing. And the girls were like, oh. And I just thought, we are so fortunate. Like,
how old are they now?
They're 2.5.
Oh, that's perfect. That's when everything's awesome when they're that age. Everything is cool because there's so many first times. I love that.
Yeah, and I just thought, and you think, oh, should you tell their dad and mom? And I said, oh, he grew up around here. He knows, like, it's nothing to be afraid of. They're not gonna, run at you, and he's far enough away. He was more afraid of us than we were, and so we just, you listen to your to common sense, and you think, okay, well, they're crossing right about now, so you just pack the girls up and you say, let's just take our time and go home now. Like, we won't carry on.
I just think that's so cool. You're going for a little walk and then you cross a black bear and a bald eagle, but it's just another day in the life of Jen Young.
It's another day, yeah. So, but
that's the coolest.
So,
now, do they like being outside? Do they like to explore
love being outside. One of them does not like anything on her feet, like any sand or dirt. She wears her
clean
boots.
Feet.
Yeah, she likes her boots all the time, her little blue boots. I have turquoise boots that I wear in the winter. She's got little blue boots, and she wears them all the time. Hot summer, and she'll have her boots on. And then the other one, that's Bella, and the other one just says, I walk. And I'll say, well, where's your shoes? And she says, I walk. And she'll walk across gravel and sand and dirt with bare feet. And we just laugh. It's just
it doesn't bother at all. She probably has little calluses on her. Yeah, it happens so fast. Like I remember being a kid and going to visit some of my family that lived in Texas at the time. And they would be taken off across the yard with, gravel and all kinds of, like, just running across it with no problem. And then there I was with my city feet.
Your city feet, that's exactly.
I couldn't keep up with them. But by the end of the summer, I could. But it took it didn't take long. But yeah, and that's the best, being barefoot when you're a kid and running around outside. I love it.
Oh, I know. And it's funny because some people my daughter is very sensitive. Like her feet, like I feel bad for her because she feels everything like Bella does. Addie is just like, there's no way she's going to get like the rough bottom. Like, no way. It's just, she's not going to get the leather foot or whatever it's called.
The leather foot. That's funny. So what's going on new with you then? I know that you were, there were some things going on in your town recently where you were doing some protesting and being a part of involvement with the soil protection there.
I guess they're still doing it. They're trying to do bylaws. I was at a meeting the other night, because I do go to the civic meetings when I can. And I felt one was important the other night, and it went on till I got home after midnight. It started at 6:30.
Now the civic meetings where you're at, that's like city hall, I guess, right?
Yes,
so
that's
you're
right.
Okay.
So there's regional districts, and I belong to one of the regional districts. So I just like to be informed. I think if we're informed in anything, then we can help make decisions, and we can help have a voice. I believe that we're all put here to have voices. Otherwise, we have to communicate in any way that we can. And if we don't, educate ourselves, then we walk around in ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of sad. And it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's spirituality or religion or mathematics or physics. We should try and have as much information as we can. And I got involved because of some stuff that was going on in our backyard. And backyard, I mean in our neighborhood. And I started asking questions because I really did want to understand the logistics behind it. And the more questions I asked, it seemed like the more the answers weren't coming. So I just kept digging and digging. And it didn't necessarily mean, and it doesn't necessarily mean I didn't agree with some people, but it meant maybe the way in which the things were going on wasn't quite the way it should have gone.
Yeah.
It should have happened. And I think that we can't turn a blind eye. I think we all have a moral conscience.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope we have a moral conscience.
No, I love not just about you specifically being getting yourself involved in communities. I think that that's really important. But I love the whole, because we can all have different. Our compass can be set different morally. I'll say that, So, but it doesn't. If we can just listen to each other and get proper knowledge and information from each other and really listen and be open-minded to possible changes, I think that meeting in the middle with a lot of this stuff is, at this point, it's really the only way forward. I mean, we have to listen to each other and our concerns and why it's so important to be involved in the community, because I think change really does start locally, especially with in the United States. I know pockets of places that just, they're so far out, rules so far out, there's no real information that gets to a lot of people. The internet's great for that. Because you can find so many people, but it's also full of a bunch of junk.
It's true. It's
it
true.
Is, Amy, I agree.
If you read it on the internet, then it's obviously true. And I start laughing at that because
yeah, I do too.
And a good example of that is there was, if you go to Wikipedia, it's updated all the time. And one of my son's friends had put on it that where we live, my son was an Olympian and part of it was named after him. And we laughed and laughed and laughed. And it was just some
at least
kind
it was
of
flattering.
And it was very flattering, but we laughed and it was so funny. And it was taken off by whoever edits, but it was up there for a bit. And so whatever you read is not necessarily true.
Right,
and that was just a really good example of what can be, what you can find.
Well, I heard, and hopefully this isn't fake news, but I heard that Canada, and they're talking about it in the chat room, is a legal country now.
Yes, I believe marijuana. It is. And
That
I've
is
heard that
amazing.
too.
Congratulations,
I've puffed that too, but I did not inhale.
Canada.
So I'll have to ask Amy's good friend JT, Justin Trudeau, with the lovely hair. Um, but no, I believe the Senate has they've said.
Now, is it medical or was it recreational? Do you
I
know?
think it's medical. I have not been
Good.
following the medical. Let's see, Canada and Mary Joanna.
Oh, it is recreational too, which is even better because you guys, the
It'll
surplus is,
be,
from what I understand, is absolutely been amazing for some of the states that are here. Oh, it's just medical.
yeah, it just says recreation will soon be legal in Canada after the Senate passed a historic bill on Tuesday with a vote of 52 to 29. It'll be the second country in the world. So good on Canada. You know, at least we're not meek and mild in that. we'll just be
No, right. I know.
we'll just be really laid back. Really laid back,
But
man.
happy, happy. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious. The reason I wanted to talk about your environmental endeavors is because I really feel like it ties into being an empath also, because if I understand correctly, you're not just passionate about it because of the moral compass per se, but because you can feel energy around you. So you understand, I think, at a different level that which I do kind of, and I hope this isn't too much, Jen, but I wanted to share with everybody that Jen and I were talking one day, and I was looking at her energy, and she had a really unique thing about her, right? So, and I'm kind of looking at it, and I've seen, when somebody is a mental, empath, or if somebody is an emotional empath, you can kind of see well, I can feel like I can see the difference between the two of them a lot of times. And I think we all sort of use one more strongly than the other. But with Jen's, I found it really interesting. It was almost like this perfect marriage of these two particular energies, and I hadn't really seen that with people before. So, mental empaths, I think a lot of times they just know things about people when they're around people, or they're reading about people or anything like that. And then I think their emotional part of it is when somebody can really feel what's going on with somebody. They feel their feelings. But talking to Jen, and I think, like I said, I think a lot of us you really use both. But I was talking with Jen, and I feel like I wanted to bring that up because it was such an important part of the work that you're doing, to sort of know and feel your way around all of that stuff. I feel that's amazing. To me, that's like the new human, right? It's all part of our evolution, where we shouldn't just use what we might think is right or something. We can feel it now and know it at different levels. So, and you've been like this your whole life?
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I know Renee put on something on her Facebook that she saw atoms and colors, and when she was learning, someone had told her you don't talk about that. And we just talked about the internet and what we read and how we can share. And I can remember seeing that and saying that to someone when I was little, and I was told, oh, you really shouldn't be talking like that. And I'm thinking, well, why not? Like, to me, it was what you can see and what you do and what you feel. And it was like, you really shouldn't be talking like that.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me still says, why? And the other really logical part of me goes, okay, well, I get it.
Yeah.
Because, of course, as one guy said to me one night, quite serious, but still with banter in his voice, there I can prescribe some pills for you. So
Shit. God.
Yeah, and I said, no, it's okay. If you ever want to talk to your grandmother, I'll tell her I'll tell you what she says, and he started laughing. But I think that shut him up.
Golly, I mean, that's kind of bold. Have some pills that you see
Yeah,
energy.
but it's funny because I think when we allow ourselves and accept ourselves fully, this is really hard. Accept ourselves fully. We do get in tune with the energies around us, and it might not be comfortable for those that are in our everyday picture. Um, it to me, I'm fortunate that my partner, the big guy, accepts that fully. He really gets it. Years ago he'd say, "Oh, you and your heebie-jeebies" or whatever. He'd listen to it though. He, there. What do you call it? It was just me. And we were talking today, and he says, "You cannot." He said, "You can't put a leash on a free spirit." He said, "You just can't do it. You have to let free spirits run wild because they'll always return." And, we're talking about a variety of things, but when he said that, I thought, you're absolutely right. He absolutely gets it, whether it's, a wild horse or a dog or even a person. We're all wild spirits, and we have that chance to discover and learn and explore, and then we always come back and center ourselves and be grounded. And it doesn't mean, I guess it's all in the perception, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, and Amy in the chat room she says, just be you because there's too many people to try to hide their shadows. And I cannot stand behind that any more than I already do, because I have the opposite experience. I've always had the heebie-jeebies myself.
Yeah, I know that.
But I pushed mine out of fear. Mostly my mother's fear pushed it back. So, and Amy brought up, I mean, it's like such a good point, because she says, just be you, too many people to try to hide their shadows. I have spent so long, or had spent so long, especially when you're like in your 20s and you're a teenager, you're so worried about what everybody thinks, even though nobody's actually thinking anything about you. You just think everybody is. But that, I mean, to be able to come out on the other side of that, and to just, that's just it. I just want to be me. I just want to be me and experience my life how I want, how I want to. Because I'm not sitting around worrying about what everybody else is doing all day long. I don't do that. I'm doing what I got to do to take care of myself and my family on the day to day. I mean, not that people don't cross my mind or whatever. I think about people all the time, but I don't let it run me anymore. And my fears, I don't let my fears run me anymore. So that's a big deal. It's just, I mean, I think for a lot of people, it's hard to get there because they think they're victims in the process of certain things, or they were raised to believe they ought to be fearing something. So, I mean,
No, I do. And I like when you say stutter, when you say they are victims. That for me in the last couple of weeks has really reared its ugly head. And it's, wow. The energies that come from that are like licks of flames. Yeah, licks of flames that come out. And I can't help but think, are you kidding me? Turn it around. Turn it around and be brave. You don't have to, I have to write this down. Take it like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I think there comes a time when you just stop rolling over for everything,
That's right.
and
And
you gotta stand up. And I think it's the scariest part is standing up to the fear, but it's also it's the best part because it makes you really, it makes you realize your power. Like you can't keep blaming everybody for what has gone wrong in your own life. Let's just pick up and move forward and not continue to repeat patterns that aren't healthy. But when you're
yes.
trapped in denial, when you're trapped in that the sort of thinking, it takes a real backhand to get your attention. The real backhand of life
Mm-hmm.
to just smack you. To it's unfortunately, I think I heard somebody say the other day that there was no growth without pain, and I absolutely don't believe that at all. Because I believe you can grow through love just as much as you can an ordeal. But damn if pain isn't one of the best motivators for change. I mean, it absolutely is. Nobody wants to feel like crap, and I think that drives a lot of people to make the necessary changes. Either that, or they roll around in it longer.
I
I
think
guess
some
it just
people
depends.
enjoy,
Yeah,
um, some people really enjoy that. I really do. Some people enjoy being miserable. I,
yep.
I,
Yeah,
they,
it's comfortable.
I can name a few of them,
It's
and you
comfortable.
just think, God, why? Um, we were talking the other night, and I don't even know how we got on this subject, but I think I was. I know I don't think I know I was kicked out of a class, and then I was, you stand in the hall, and I was kicked out for laughing. Then I was, you go out and stand in the hall. I was in grade 12, I think, 11 or 12, and then you're going to have to leave because you're laughing. And so then I couldn't stop laughing, so I was in the hall and I'm laughing, so they kicked me out of the hall. And so I had to go to the social resource room, and so I went there and I'm laughing and laughing, and I'm kicked out of there, so I laugh harder, and I had to go to the library and I'm kicked out of there, and I was pretty much kicked out of the school, and every time they kicked me out of somewhere I laughed even harder. And I forget who I was with, but we laughed and laughed and laughed. And, when you said there's no growth without pain, there can be growth with laughter. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
we laughed
definitely.
that whole day. I can't recall why. All I know is that it was so much fun. Um, we learned how strong laughter could be,
Yes.
because here we were. You're not coming to school because you're laughing, you know. And it was so crazy.
I know, what a punishment, right? You're
I
having
know,
a good
what a
time and you
punishment.
get kicked out of school. It's like you want to high five yourself. You hit the jackpot.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't mean it. Wasn't that it was malicious or anything. Something just struck us as funny, and away we went. And I think it was someone's had put a daisy on their ear, and their ear had turned upside down, and we thought it was funny, and we just started laughing, and we couldn't, you know, um, get the words out, to say, fix your ear.
Right.
That was, it was funny. But there is, it's powerful. Laughter is powerful. Being happy is powerful. We don't have to grow from pain. And I like that. We don't. There's going to be
Right.
pain.
Well,
There's going to be sorrow, right?
yes. Yes. And there's some really excellent points going on in the chat room. Somebody said, I think some people stay in that place out of fear, and not necessarily because they enjoy it. Sometimes the unknown is very scary. That's totally true. And Amy said people would rather be right than happy, which is also, I can vouch for that. But I've also learned in this household with my wife that sometimes it's good for me to be wrong so that she can be happy, so that I can be happy.
Happy wife.
Right.
Come on, Shelby.
Yeah, I know. You would think I would know that because, I'm a woman. And so, right?
But I mean, it could be a
But I'm also a woman,
happy
so I have to
husband,
be right.
happy life too, right? It's a happy partner. It's a happy partner.
Yes,
But
makes
I
the
mean, we all
partner
do
happy.
like to be right. It's what is that insane little voice in our head that goes, damn it, I know I'm right about this and I've got to go find it. And I think our technical devices now are mechanical devices. I can Google that and make sure that I know I'm right. And you think like, this is crazy. This is
Yeah,
just
like the amount of energy to make sure I've done that. I'd be like, see, Google says, and I'm like, woo, high fiving myself. And I can tell by when the looks start happening that just it's okay. It's okay to be
I know. I know. It's, I've got I'll have to find it. I did write on the calendar this year. Ron admits he's wrong, and we started laughing. or and he said, "Okay, I will admit today I'm wrong." And I put it on the calendar. I'm just like, "Yes, yes, yes," and
That's
we laughed
hilarious.
because he admits he's wrong, or he goes, "Okay, like, yeah," he goes, "I wasn't right about that," but he said the word wrong, and I'm going, "Yeah, yeah," and it's like, how silly, stupid is that? What kind of enjoyment, personal satisfaction. It's this little bit of satisfaction that comes out, and these little hands from your heart start clapping. The ego, right? This little,
Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then
That's
you just realize how well, for me, in my house especially, I realize how insignificant some of the things that I want to be right about really are. Like, who cares how deep you have to bury a turnip for it to grow? And I'm not going to get into this massive argument over it because I know I'm right. I just have to let it go. Anyway, it's funny too, speaking of having significant other, when I don't know if this is your friends or your husband even are this way with you, but now that for me, my wife will say something to me, if I'll say something to her about, something I think about or something, and she'll say, well, where does that come from? Did I just pick that up reading her, or was it like a spiritual message or anything like that? And I always start laughing because I'm just not used to that. I'm just used to just being, me without, not that I walk into people's energy and just read it, for no reason, but I'm just used to being able to say if I feel something or I know something, I just sort of talk about it now rather than not. Does that stuff come up with you at all with your family?
Yeah, it does. Oh goodness, I've got to hang this up. I forwarded everything, and it's coming. Say that again. Where does it come from? It's true. Uh, the other day, Ron had gone for his hike on the mountain. I went twice last week, and I was just so excited because I finally started walking again, and then I had to stop. Long story. Anyhow, so Ron comes back, and meanwhile, a friend had phoned and gave me some information. So we finally get a chance to talk, and I'm telling Ron all this information. And Ron goes, well, isn't that great? I was just going to talk to you. I said, but you already told me all this stuff. And he said, when did I tell you this? And I said, well, you told me last night. And I was serious. And Ron goes, I haven't talked to you about this yet. And I said, but no, you told me last night. And I'm sure he did.
Like just picking it up out of the ether.
Yeah. And he's going, I don't think I did. But I can
How
recall
funny.
having this. It's funny because it's like, yeah, it's no, I believe we already had this conversation. And Ron says, no, I was thinking about this on the mountain. And I thought,
That is
well, like,
so funny. It's like the same wavelength.
yeah,
The reading of, which is so my wife meditates too, and sometimes we'll meditate around the same time. She usually works third shift, but sometimes on her off stretch, she gets up with me, and I'm an early bird. I usually get up around 3:30 in the morning, and she'll come meditate with me. And there have been, I can't count the many amount of times where I have seen things in my meditation, and it would turn out that she was doing something that involved that in her meditation, or vice versa, where she would be picking up something that I had been thinking about, or that I was meditating on, or anything like that. And it's just, I mean, that is amazing to me. And I feel like my biggest reluctance with the psychic world is my privacy. Right.
Yes.
And that's like, I don't want to just walk up, because the majority, not the majority, but a large portion of the people that I know or are empathic or have some kind of psychic ability or something like that. And I don't usually worry too much about people getting in my energy, but that was a concern for mine for a long time, because I'm like, I don't want all these people like looking at me all the time.
Me.
But it doesn't really, I don't know about you, but it doesn't work like that with me. I don't just.
No, it doesn't work like that with me.
I definitely don't sit around, like, I don't give a shit what you're doing all day long. Like, I don't care. I have my own life, so I don't just sit around like looking at people in that way. You know, I'm just, I don't know. I don't even really try to turn it on when I'm just having a regular conversation with somebody.
No, I don't. No, I don't think I do. Sometimes it depends who you're with. It depends who you're with, and some people just leave it wide open. And I can name a couple of people, and I think we all can, right? And there's a few that we just start talking, and then all of a sudden stuff comes, and I just start talking like I normally would. And then I look at them and I think, oh God, I'm reading you. I don't mean to do that. Yeah.
Because it comes, it's so natural at the same time when it's happening. You're like, oh, I guess I did it. Especially an empath, right? Because I mean, you almost can't help when you walk into a room and you know that somebody just got into a huge fight with somebody else, because you walk into the room and you can't breathe in there. You just know something happened. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That cracks me up though. Thinking about that. Not that, I don't know. If I'm at a restaurant eating somewhere, I don't want somebody walking up to me, especially a stranger, walking up to me and giving me a reading.
No, I wouldn't want that. No, we were when I went down to California to do some stuff, I was in a restaurant with my friend, and I don't know if you hear voices from dead people. Yeah, right. So we're from dead people.
That's so creepy when you said it.
So because we can all hear like someone talking in the background, right?
Yeah.
And she said, "Excuse me," or something. I don't know what she said, and I ignored her. I thought, no, I'm not doing this right now. I'm eating my dinner and I'm having a nice dinner. And finally, the woman that I was sitting across from said, she said, sorry, did you say, sorry, what were you saying? She goes, I've got a coupon for your dinner if you need it. And I turned around and I said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were alive. And I didn't need to say it.
Oh my God.
Someone else. And I felt really, I know. And I felt really kind of, I did feel stupid, but it was so honest.
That's the funniest
I've
thing
been doing all this stuff all day, listening to all these spirits talk. And I just thought, oh, just stop now. I'm tuning you all out. And I thought I had. And I thought, I don't know why this one's being so persistent,
That is the best. I can even feel her tapping on my shoulder.
Yeah, she's alive. Do you want a coupon for dinner?
Oh, yeah, that is hilarious.
Excuse me. I'm going, no, you're not being excused. Like, you're going away. I've shut off for the night. I'm enjoying this dinner. I want my food.
Oh, that's great. Well, Martin said there's a good of people who can't help it if that he knows. So some would even detect your thoughts pretty damn accurately. I agree with that. And I feel I feel strongly that sometimes I get information come in about somebody, but I just don't, I don't know. I don't divulge it every time I have a thought or can hear somebody's Aunt Nancy coming through. I just don't. I don't feel like I guess I don't feel ethically right about it because they're not asking me.
Yeah.
So, but that's just me, and I'm not. If other people, if that's their jam, then that's their jam. I just don't. I guess for me, I feel like if somebody wants to know what I see, then they'll ask me.
I think they do. I think some do. I know there's been a couple of times where, the spirit has not left me alone, and I finally said, "Okay, I hope you don't mind. Do you mind?" And they've said no because they do the same work we do. And I said, "Well, this entity, the spirit, whatever, is right behind you. I don't know if you can feel it or not. They're just not leaving until I say something, and I'd really like to."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he goes, "Oh yeah, like that's fine." If it's someone else though, no, like that's not gonna.
Right. Or if you're giving somebody a reading, that happens to me all the time lately, especially. I'll be trying to talk to somebody about something that they've asked me, and then
Like
their
my
mother. I mean, and it's not, I don't mean aggressive in a bad way, the way they come through, but it's so,
She was very
like,
adamant.
like, I need to say this right now. Or I had one the other day and it was the same thing. There were all these other souls around that were willing to come forward, but there was one that would get so close to me, I couldn't even see. I felt like I couldn't see past her to see who all was back there, So it was, I don't know. It's interesting how spirit does communicate, though. So with that, though, we're talking about people that have crossed over, and as an empath, being able to feel people that are even alive, being able to feel their energy and stuff. So what about plants and animals? How do you feel about? Do you feel like they're, beings? Or do you feel like they're just
sentient?
what's your perception of
Well,
that
I
stuff?
think animals definitely. I know animals and plants, all living plants. You know, I I talk to my plants. You know, it's to me, it's just what I do. I've always done that, and it's a proven fact. If you talk to your plants, they're going to respond and they're going to grow nicely, hopefully. I've got a windowsill full of orchids that one of my cousins works at Butchart Gardens, and
Oh,
they're
cool. That's
I know,
awesome.
I know. They look for help. Shelby, put your resume in and move up to Canada, eh? But
Well, now that
so
pot's
and she
legal.
says,
I'm
"I
just
can't
kidding.
believe your orchids, Jenny." And I said, "I know. I just love these little plants." And she gives me one, and they always come back. So I'm very fortunate. Um, I do believe that plants and animals all know what we're feeling and doing. Um, we can heal them like we can heal people, individuals, or humans. Um, there's so much that goes unexplored, and there's so much more there that we don't, and not we. I think that a lot of individuals don't look at, or perhaps aren't ready to look at. You know,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, I
they've got.
do. But and I think another interesting point too, especially with the plant and animal communication, that they don't. Well, for me, I don't receive information from them like I would a person that's crossed over, right? So there's the way they communicate with me it's totally different. But now, if it's somebody's pet, a lot of times, if their pet has crossed over, I'll see the pet. I can see the pet. But if it's an animal that's alive, and well, actually, one of the people I'm going to have on is an animal communicator, but she says she has a knowing when there's a pet that she's reading that has some sort of ailment. She has a knowing. It communicates with her the same way spirit that's crossed over communicates with me. So it's really interesting how, because I don't hear it like that. I don't know how you do, but for me, it's much different. In plants, I don't know how to say this, but I feel it. I mean, it's at a soul level, the way that I feel that communication. It's just different. And it's more about the way energy.
It's annoying.
I can feel it in my energy body. If that makes sense. So it's just interesting. Or I'll know. I can feel if it's, that's how I really had so much awareness come through, was through the plant kingdom, because it dawned on me. I was staring at this big willow oak, and it dawned on me in an instant. I was connected to it, and it consumed my energy and yanked me down energetically. Not, I let it. It didn't possess me, but it yanked my energy down to the, way down to the earth. And I knew it was trying to communicate with me. I was just sitting there staring at it. I'm like, whoa, this is at like 5 o'clock in the morning. The sun hasn't come out, and it's just me and this tree on the property where I was working. So having that experience, it was like, oh my God, they can communicate in like fields of plants or grasses, and how they work together to communicate. It's amazing to me.
No, it is. I don't know how I get it. I've never really consciously thought about it.
So you just sort of know, like you get that knowing of it.
I get that knowing. I guess when I hike or when I go out and water my plants, if I prune them, that's what I'm looking for, prune them. You just say, sorry, I'm doing this, we're just going to make you look pretty. I talk to them and I sort of ask them, this sounds so crazy when I say it out loud, where the best part is. What we know when it's dead, what has to be taken off, like the ends of our hair, right? But otherwise, what's going to make that plant feel better and grow better? What's going to be best for that? And I think horticulturists know, because they have such a great, they have a green thumb. This one fellow I go to meetings with, his garden is just unbelievable. And, he goes out there, he says, I do a meditation when I'm out there, and he's just so happy in his garden. And yet he knows so much about so many things. He's lived so many places. It's just an absolute knowing about what makes stuff happy, right?
Yeah. I mean, and then you're like, are these people, some of them trained, some of them untrained? It makes you wonder, though, is this all just book knowledge, or are you sensing your way around and communicating with these? Because to me, this is all about our evolution, like all of these advancements that human beings are making, and the opening up spirituality, if you want to call it, I think correlates also with the evolution of man and the things that we're going to become more and more capable of doing and utilizing different, we're not just limited to certain senses anymore. And then what happens? It's exciting.
I know, and then what happens, right? I know. I'm going back to these gardens, and I'm thinking about Ron's mom, who she had these. When I first met him, they had a nice place. Over the years, she made these beautiful flower gardens and vegetable gardens, and it's just like, wow. And she just had the knack. And I mean, I was astounded that, you drive up and you just think, holy smokes, these rhododendrons were huge. And she just buy a tiny little plant and she put it in, it would grow. She just have
She
this
just knew.
knowing.
I love
She
that.
knew. Yeah. And she'd take a plant in for the winter. She also feed the birds.
Oh
And
yeah. Oh
she'd
yeah.
get the birds to come out and like they'd eat out of her hand. And I just like, wow, that is so cool. Who does that? You know, um,
Wow,
it's
that is
just,
super neat. That is super cool. I love that.
it's just someone who's really in tune, I think, very in tune. And it's so, um, do they have intuition with people? Perhaps. I think she was very in tune with a lot of stuff, but definitely with animals and plants. She was very, very good. Uh, yeah, she could read energies that way.
I think it's I like to do this thing where I get dirt from wherever I go, or if I
I
have friends
know.
that live somewhere, I'm always like, send me your dirt, because I feel like energetically it holds a lot of information in that way too. And I find energy, no matter where it comes from, just absolutely fascinating. And I think that's like the one of the big bases too for wanting to be able to do this podcast. I think is because there's so many um, multi-talented people out there, because there's the psychic medium part of a lot of people that I know, but there's these amazing human beings. I mean, we've always tend to put like these labels on things that we're this or we're that or whatever, but truly it's about every human being has these just amazing stories to share. And you included, Jen. I'm absolutely floored by the things that you do in your community. I mean, you're like my hero with that stuff. I can't reiterate enough how important I think that it is for people to get involved in their communities in some way, shape, or form if they can. I mean, not everybody I know has time to go to a lot of these different meetings, but there's all sorts of ways to get involved in a community, and it doesn't have to be even your local community. It can There's tons of things on the internet to find people that have like-minded ideas and beliefs, but it's even more important to find people that challenge the way that we think and talk about the things that we disagree with so that we can gain a better perspective. Because I feel like empathy is going to be what eventually is going to be one of the big key players in the entire world coming to an agreement when living in peace, because we're so we're feeling so much anger, especially in the United States right now. I think we're feeling so much anger and told you so's and pointing fingers. I mean, I don't want to get all political, but there's so much disruption happening here right now. I actually have backed way off of social media the last couple of weeks and stopped being involved in several of the group chats that I was in, just because I felt I needed to scale myself back away from that stuff. Like seeing it all the time it hurts me, you know. I
I
want
know.
to look at us as a race, as a human race, and see us working together beyond our different political ideas and be way beyond all of that stuff. I mean, somehow we all want to feel loved, and we want to feel safe. And that's what, and I think if especially people that have the ability to feel others, if they know how to give that to them in a way where everybody can at least make some progress, hopefully, I feel like that's where a lot of our change is going to go. I hope that's what happens anyway.
It's
Who
funny. I try to
knows?
stay away from the political stuff and with what's going on right now, with immigrants seeking asylum, and they've done it forever. That's all I'm going to say. They've done it forever in so many countries. Um, I've tried to stay out of it. I posted today because I felt so strongly, and to me, it's a moral compass, right? It was a moral compass, moral conscience for me, um, and and it's like to remain silent. I could not do that any longer. Having said that, there was something else on my feed, and I thought, I'm not going to respond to that, because if I start responding to different idealisms or whatever one wants to call them, I'll just go nuts. I'll really go
You could get lost
crazy.
in it.
I'll get lost in it. I'll get so lost in the political drama. And it's not from, the States, it's from Canada and it's from wherever. And I just thought, I can't go down that really windy road right now, because it would be really easy for me. And it's making a real personal choice,
Sure,
of what
sure.
of what I want and how I'm going to react. And I think that's part of it, is taking the 24 hours and not doing the knee jerk reaction, and then thinking, and double thinking and rethinking, and lying under the trees, or looking at the stars and thinking, oh, there's something greater out there. There's something greater out there than responding to that one post. Something
Going
greater,
back. You're asking for it now,
out
pal.
there. Yeah. And but it would be so easy to say what I really want to say. And if we didn't have the social media like we do now, it wouldn't have to be said at all.
Right.
Wouldn't have to be said at all. So to me, it's like, a lot of people use social media for their own soapbox, and that's okay for them. I'm trying not to. And we all could, right?
Well, yeah, and I mean, what do they say? Everything in, to take everything just with a grain of salt, and also to just make sure that everything is being done in moderation, including moderation. Which is it's really a good thing to go by, because if I find myself getting too involved with stuff, I have to, for my own well-being, I have to step back. And for a long time I wouldn't do that, because I would be too worried about, well, what, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, or I don't want to finally it's like, who gives it, like, I've got to take care of me and what's going on with me. So it's all about growing. I could keep talking to you all day, Jen, but I'm sure there's, we'll go ahead and start to open up here in just a minute for some readings if you want to.
Sure, whatever you'd like to do.
There are some callers, and if there's anybody in chat that wants a reading, let me know. And otherwise, I'm going to go down the caller list here in just a second. So okay, I'm going to start here. Okay. Are you ready, Jen, or do you need a second?
No, I'm ready. I can do this right now if you like.
Okay, 707. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. This is Kathleen.
Hi, Kathleen. How are you?
I'm getting better. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Kathleen.
Hi. Shelby, I have to tell you, when I had a reading with you, you asked me if I was having any digestion problems, and I go, oh, no, I'm fine. Well, last night I was in the ER. I have diverticulitis.
Oh, my God.
Oh, gosh.
You poor thing.
Yeah, well, things happen for a reason, right? So I just have to watch what I eat. I'm on a liquid diet, and that's not fun.
No way.
So anyway, I just wanted to say that you were absolutely right. I just didn't know it.
So oh my God, I am so sorry to hear that. Well, I mean, thank you for telling me, but that's awful. That's so awful. I know. It's like, I kind of think that's good. No, it's not good news.
Well, thanks for validating. So sorry you're in pain.
That's okay. It's not too painful. It's just, just kind of backwards right now. So,
Yeah.
but I see it getting to be okay. So, I think my body's just kind of warning me that I need to eat differently. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. Well, you're on the phone now. If you have a question,
I do.
Okay.
One thing that's come up is that my grandson and his mother might have to move to LA because they might not be able to find anything in the Bay Area. Can you give me anything on that?
Okay. Well, Jen is the guest. I always try to let my guests go first, so I'm going to let you start on it, Jen.
Okay. First of all, hi, Kathleen. I'm sorry to hear about your diverticulitis. That's not pleasant at all. And didn't mean to make light of it. It's just when we get validation, it's like, holy smokes, didn't mean to be kind of like that. Talking about diverticulitis and movement, I do see movement with you. So it's, and it's with your family, not necessarily with you. I see a lot of laughter and happiness around your family or with you, and perhaps with the move. And I'm getting joy. So you're wanting to know if they're going to move, or I see a few things. I see new work or new employment. I see movement. So either movement to a new job or a new I want to say facade, a new building, new kind of home, and also a lot of joy and happiness within this time. I'm given the number 6, like 6 months, unless 6 to you is the day of a month, like the 6th of August or something.
Yeah.
But I'm given 6 months. Is your daughter? You said your daughter?
It's my daughter-in-law and my grandson, and they're supposed to be out of where they're at by August 1st. So, but the laughter that you hear, I have 20 plus people coming for the 4th of July. That's all family, and that's always laughter. So you're absolutely right on that. It would mean that my grandson would move like 8 hours away, and I'm just going, oh my gosh, that seems so far.
And how old's he?
He's turning 12 this week.
Okay. No, I definitely see movement with them.
Okay.
But I do see new employment.
Okay. Well, I know she can transfer with her job. That's a possibility. So.
I'll stick to that. And I see, even before you came on, I saw healing. So there's healing all around you also, Kathleen. So there's a lot of healing energy going on around you and for you. And it's like circling you, just continuous.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the number 8 for August is huge. So August is going to bring changes.
Okay.
What do you get, Shelby?
I kept picking up 8 also. So, but I also see movement. The interesting part, well, it's not really interesting, but there's a sadness attached to it. Is the only thing, and it's not, I know you said it was your grandson and there was worrying, being worried about the distance or whatever, but there's almost like I don't know if the relationship kicks it up into a different kind of gear or whatever, but there's almost a closeness that ends up coming to the both of you. I can see a stronger attachment at the heart is what I'm seeing.
Oh.
So I feel like even if there's, see, now I'm seeing the map when it's flashing the different, I always see it'll flash the different states at each end, the East Coast, West Coast type thing, and so I know that they're going to be moving. Also, that I feel pretty strongly about that, but I don't think that the sadness that with them going is going to last too long, because I see it's almost like you guys get closer over time, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel like it's right away, but it does feel like you guys become closer. But I think the distance also kind of plays a key in that, because I feel like he knows, he knows the love is there, but I think this is going to change his perception on exactly. It's definitely a good learning of love scenario that's coming up. But there's also something else that's interesting. I see some. I call them. You call them whatever you want. I call them ultra beings. You can call them whatever you want. Beings, angels. Some people call them whatever. Guys, but I see a lot of that around you, and it's really strong on your left side. But there's some. It's like energy work almost that's sort of taking place with your energy right now. So I'm mentioning that because Jen had talked about healing around you, and I'm wondering if that we're both picking the same, because we don't see the same way, but I think we're both getting a pretty similar message with.
I think it's very much the same. The pain is on my left side.
Okay.
So, and I'm feeling heat, and I've asked the angels to work with me. And
okay.
I think that.
Well, that's probably it. And I think, I do think that at some level we get what we ask for when we ask for things like that. So, but you have your energy is very pretty. You have very pretty colors, Kathleen.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys both. I really appreciate that.
It was good to hear your voice.
You too, both of you.
I hope you feel better soon.
I will. Thank you.
All right.
Take care,
See you, Kathleen. That's cool, Jen. I love that. I love being able to hear how you see too. I just love it. Oh, the number to the show, if you want to call in, is, I'm going to copy and paste it. It's 631-353-4342. And our show number is 720. So if you would like to call in, you can do that. All right, I'm going to go to somebody else on the list. Okay. 780 is who I'm going to pick. 780, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thanks for taking my call, Shelby and Jen.
Of course. How are you?
Doing okay. Energy really is a roller coaster right now. I lost my mother actually to cancer in April. So my energy is going up and down.
Who am I talking with?
Jay in Canada.
Jay, okay.
Yeah. And quite stirring, actually. So, going to different grief groups and things like that. So, just trying to. Honestly,
and this was your mother, you said?
Yes.
I'm sorry to hear that, Jay.
Thank you.
It's always devastating to lose anybody, but I think children and parents sort of take the cake. Did you have a certain question that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, I just wondered during the grieving process. I mean, getting, I don't know, any messages, or I just had a message just recently. I just was looking on the computer, and it was actually my mother's first name was actually on the screen.
That is so cool. I love that.
Yeah, I took a screenshot of it just to say that. Yeah, it's really surprising. I said, what do you want, Mom? What's going on?
Yeah, she's letting you know she's around. First of all, like Shelby says, I'm really sorry to hear about your mom. I feel the grief right in my solar plexus, like a hard punch. And there's no words, right?
That's
There's
right.
just there's no
True.
words. Just huge heart hugs to you.
Thanks.
And know that you are very much loved. Very much loved. Does the name Anne mean anything to you?
Yeah, she's my good friend.
Okay, because even before I started talking to you, I got the name Anne, and the woman that's telling me this says it with a big smile. And I'm okay. I'm supposed to tell you the name Anne. The woman coming through, your mother, is filled with love. She shines extremely brightly. And every time I talk to you, the fan in my computer turns on really loudly. So she has got this tremendous energy. Did she struggle with her breathing at the last?
I'm not sure. I wasn't there for the.
Because or did she have COPD or something? Because what is it? Obstructive pulmonary disease like emphysema or asthma or something, because I'm having a really hard time with my breathing. It's in my chest. And it's like I can't get enough air. So I just trying to validate if it is. I'm getting it is your mom because she's patting my shoulder and saying it is. Keep going on. She's also showing me the color the color turquoise and a cool pond or pool water. So
I don't know.
part okay.
Well, she was in Hawaii one time. So I'm not sure.
Okay. I can't get her first name. Anyhow, oh gosh, she wants you to keep moving on with you're gonna embrace your grief. Okay, I'm asking you on her behalf to embrace the grief and don't think that you're selfish. I'm writing this down as I'm saying it. Don't think that you're selfish when you're grieving her, because you're not being selfish. There is a process. There is no timeline to grief. We all grieve differently. Hold the memories of her, good, bad, and otherwise, very close, because that's what there are. She is with you all the time and all the way. She's showing me the turquoise waters for serenity. She is showing me holding your hand when you were little. And she's giving me the taste of vanilla, really strong vanilla. And I'm not sure why vanilla, but perhaps you know what that taste, why she's giving me vanilla. Maybe
Sure.
vanilla ice cream or vanilla like white cake. But it's vanilla beans. And lavender.
I'm not sure. I'll have to. She cooked with vanilla before, but no.
But is extremely strong around her.
Maybe. Okay. Maybe a scent that she liked before.
I guess I don't know. The vanilla is from cooking though, but she's watching over you. What did you get, Shelby?
Did you say your name was Jay? Can you say your name one more time?
Jay. Thanks, Jen. Thank you.
So you mentioned you weren't there at the end, right?
No.
Of her. Okay. Are you having some anger about that?
Yes, I am actually.
There's because the first thing I felt with Life Jen was your grief, but comes right up behind that is a lot of anger. There's a lot of anger. What's really interesting is because there is because you are communicating with her, right? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So what I find just fascinating about the situation is because I understand your anger. That's the first thing I'm going to say. I understand it very well. I lost my mother in January of last year. And I think that the process of grief has a lot of different emotions that go with it. But I also feel like you kind of already know a lot of this stuff. That's what's so fascinating to me, right? I'm looking at you and your energy and the way your colors are. I mean, you're super intelligent. You're very smart. You have a lot of really great attributes in your energy. I mean, your colors are just gorgeous, but there's this created what I'll call it's like a self-imprisonment. And I think all of us that are grieving sort of create this area for ourselves, for our energy. I do think that you're going to start feeling some relief from it, but the anger is what you're going to have to really what you're really going to have to look at. Because I'm with Jen 100% about the timeline thing. My computer is going nuts. I don't know.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I don't know what is going on.
No,
with it.
mine did the same thing.
Yes, I do. It's his mother. But really, I think there it goes again. It keeps. Anyway, if you guys lose me, I'm sorry, but I don't know what's happening. But again, I think that there's so much. I think the only thing that's preventing you from moving forward right now, of course, is grief. But I also don't. There's not. I keep wanting to tell you also that there's not. There's no way you're going to be able to rush through this. And I know that the communication, because now you can feel her. Can you feel her when she embraces you?
Yeah, sometimes she, my mom, would feel the ticklish on my wrist.
There's definitely soul communication happening, and I feel it with heat, a lot of heat that's coming through, but also through obviously electronics. I mean, she's definitely communicating, but I think that you're gonna start experiencing some much deeper, having some much deeper experiences with her coming up. And I think that you're going to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that your mother is standing with you when this happens. I feel like she's around you in each room that you go into. But a lot of times I feel like your own grief is so thick around you that there are times when she is communicating with you that you can't hear her. I feel very strongly that she's going to start coming, the messages that she's going to be sending to you are going to get stronger and stronger and stronger until you have your own line of communication with her. You're going to know the symbols that she's trying to show you, the things that she's trying to do, the glitches, the way she's trying to get your attention is going to become more and more prevalent as time goes on. And I feel that way because she's not, you know, she's okay. You're angry that she's gone. And it's normal though, is the other part of that with that. It's like normal, but I feel like part of you're so smart. So I feel like part of you is like, why am I feeling this way? Or like there's some question as to why you're having certain feelings or something is what I'm picking up. And I think you're doing that to yourself because you are very intelligent. I don't know if you're having guilt over not being there or anger over not being there at the end, but I want you to know that when she crossed over, she was with you and her soul was with you. And I don't think that it's left you. I think she's transitioned, but I think her energy with you is very strong. And I think it's going to stay strong. And I think it's going to get stronger, the communication that you have with her.
Yes, I do agree. I had about two dreams, actually, where my mom came up in a dream. And they were really interesting dreams. One was like my mom was at a flower bed or something, or a garden, and she was looking for fittings for the water line. And then she was I saw her mom face to face, and mom was looking at me straight in the face. I think my sister or somebody else was on the side. I just got a brief message of that. And I think I got a glimpse of my dad too for some reason. I don't know what that was about. So, but yeah.
Well, are you eating and everything okay? Are you taking care of yourself the best that you can? Are you able to take care of yourself okay right now? Okay, good. Because I think more than importantly than anything, because you know that it's so funny. Every time I look at my screen, it keeps flashing. I know it's hard when somebody that we love and we care about crosses over, and I think sometimes people say, well, you're so lucky because you can communicate with people on the other side, but you know, it doesn't always work like that either. And I think sometimes grief prevents us from being able to have those and tap into those conversations that we really wish that we could. So I want to tell you that, Jay, because I feel like you're going to get some more validation very soon. My heart breaks for you. I don't know you, but I love you. I love you, and my heart breaks for you. I'm so sorry that you're in this sadness right now, and but just hang in tight. Make sure you're eating and taking care of yourself, drinking lots of water, and because I think, you know, a healthy mind is and a healthy body is one of the quickest ways for us to movement to help us kind of work through the grief process. I'm glad you're going to, or you have a grief class, I guess. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I'm going yoga for grief and doing things like that, because I don't think I could continue on to that. It was about a month after I had to actually do something with that. Otherwise, I'd just go kind of bonkers in a way, I thought. So
sure.
Because I didn't know what to do with those emotions. So yeah.
Now you don't have a brother or an uncle on the other side, do you?
I don't have a brother, but I have an uncle on the other side.
Is he from your mom's side of the family?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, he's here. He's with her. Also, so just you do have support around you, and you do have the people that, especially at a soul level, they are. Amy said grief houses in the lungs, and man, that's I didn't know that, Amy. That makes a lot of sense, though.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Learning to breathe, yeah.
Well, I think too, just sometimes the feelings that will come over me when I'm doing reading with somebody that's holding a lot of grief, a lot of times it is in my right next to my heart is what it'll feel like. I'm like, is this gas or is somebody? What is this? So that's interesting to hear. Okay, I'm gonna mute you, Jay. Okay. Thank you so much for calling in, and it was nice to meet you.
Really, I love you for the messages, and love you both. Thank you much. I gotta say that more often.
Thank you. Thanks,
Jen. Thanks, Shelby.
Bye.
I love
you. Oops, I always do that. Damn it! I'm sorry if I cut you off. Okay, Jen, I got you back.
Good stuff.
Okay, I think we have time for one more. Are you okay with that, Jen?
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay, the next number is 337. Can you hear me, 337?
Yeah, that's me.
Who's me?
Well, John.
John.
I call myself.
How are you, John?
I'm pretty well. How are y'all?
Is that your real name, John?
Yeah, all day long.
All day long. Instead I call myself John, I'm thinking, okay, well, what did your mother call you?
She calls me John too, usually.
Okay.
John, I feel excited about meeting you. I don't know why. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited about meeting y'all as well.
Do you have a question?
Well, you know, the big two, career and relationships, but that's it. nothing distinct.
Okay, I'll let Jen go first.
Okay, John, I just wanted to, you made me laugh right off the bat. So you obviously have a good sense of humor. I want to pull into your energy a bit more. So can you talk to me for a second? Did you have a good day?
Sure, yeah. I mean, most of my days are about the same, and you know, a wise man once told me that all days are good days. So you just
All
have
days
to
are
keep
good
that
days.
perspective, right?
days, yeah. Yeah, yeah. You've had some changes in your life recently, John.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, yeah. Um, okay. And you want to know about your relationships?
Yes, please. That would be great.
Okay. And careers.
Yep.
More relationship wise.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Um, huh. I keep getting this is a personal choice on your part, John. And and um, there's an uncomfortableness around you with relationships. I want you to ease into a relationship. Don't be so um, hmm. ease into it. Don't be so uncomfortable with yourself. Allow yourself to be you, and don't go on some other person's what you expect the other person to expect of you. What I'm being told is that you're a genuinely authentic, nice guy.
Well, thank you.
Okay? Um, and I'm being shown that through a whole bunch, a whole bunch of different energies. And when you take an individual out, I don't know if you try too hard, but what I'm being told is there's not enough nice guys like you around. And
oh goodness.
so give yourself a break and just be you. I'm being shown big smiles for your future relationship. Um, I'm showing two, like kind of the number two, but a couple of maybe short relationships, and then a really long one coming. And I feel a lot of emotion with perhaps the third time out. Um, it's like you've hit the home run, and I don't do analogies or whatever, but it's going to be like a really open and honest relationship. And yep, there's going to be some things you're probably not going to want to hear, but that's okay, because in open, honest relationships, we're not always going to hear stuff we want to hear, right?
Right.
So, and it's meeting someone in the middle. It's always what I'm being shown is give and take, give and take, give and take, and you're a giver, and so it's time for you to take a bit too. Um, so there go. Can everybody hear those dogs barking?
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. So I'm also being shown that there's movement with you. So trust in yourself more, will you, please?
I will do my best.
And
Yes.
and Are you looking for a new job right now?
Well, sure. Yes, please. That would be great.
Because I do see movement coming with your career. I was just showing like moving, like a moving van, moving realtors and keys to a house. So I'm
Oh,
wondering
wow.
if that's for you. But that's what I'm being shown. So this is all coming up for you. Um, the path is being cleared. There's trees. There's new paths to walk for you.
That sounds
What are you getting,
fantastic.
Shelby?
John, 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 John.
As you know,
Uh-oh, lecture
John.
time.
I love your energy. I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited. I'm so excited to meet you. I don't know why. I just want to keep saying that, but it's always interesting when I come up. So you are also a psychic, is that right?
Uh-huh.
I don't bill myself as such, but I like to think so.
You like to think so. I want to kind of talk about your career for a second. I know that Jen mentioned the stuff about your relationship, and I felt pretty quick. The first thing I wrote down was about your career. But I'm curious, who is now? You have a superior over you that he feels. I'm saying it's masculine energy, I believe, but it's very stifling. I just don't. I don't feel like I have a lot of room to move to do what I need to do. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so I want to talk about that for a minute because I feel like where you are, I feel almost like so this is the image I keep seeing is I have rope around my hands and they're like almost pulled down to my side so that I can't do what I need to do. And every time I look, I see that energy, that person doing that. So I feel like there's a lack of support from your superiors to push you in a direction that can help you excel within the company. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Okay. So with that, I am 100% on board with what Jen said about you moving jobs. I think it's going to be unexpected. I see it several months out from now. And what's really interesting about it is I'm not sure that you're going to be in a place where energetically, the way I'm looking at it, I'm not sure that you're going to be in a place where you're going to either want to accept the position or you're going to have to do some kind of negotiating in order for you to take the position. I don't think it's within the same company. I don't know if Jen mentioned that or not. I feel like it's a separate place because when I'm standing in it, my hands aren't put down to my side anymore. So even if you move within the company, you won't be under whoever that person is. It feels much more. Do you do something with your like creative thinking or something with your mind? Are you doing some? Not that you're doing telekinesis at work or anything, but are you using your mind for something? I mean, I'm asking because I'm asking because I see a lot of activity right around your crown chakra, and there's a certain color in it that is. So I'm watching you try to solve things in ways that aren't always logical. So maybe out of the box, creative thinking in a way. But I just feel like I'm standing in mud, like I can't move forward there, if that makes sense. Usually I can tap a person's energy and it'll roll out and I can watch it, to see what happens, and you are not moving anywhere. You're just stuck there, if that makes sense. That's what it feels like. It feels very stuck.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Does the number 4 mean anything to you at all? It's going to have something to do with your career. It could be April. It could be the 4 years. I just keep seeing the flashing of the number 4.
Yeah, I won a contest in April for a business I was trying to start.
What is that like? The only exciting thing that's happened in your career lately, or what is going on with that place? Why does it feel so? It feels like somebody's sitting right on top of you, like you can't do anything that you need to do.
Yeah, that's about the only thing exciting that's happened in a while.
Oh, I just wondered what the significance of it was. Now, do you also have, I'm seeing a young person standing next to you that's crossed over. So this would be somebody, and they're saying they would be the same age as you. So this would be somebody that's passed away, that's around, would be around your age now. Um, I want to say you may have gone to school with this person, or you knew them when they were younger and they've crossed over. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Now, does he? I want to say this is now the way that I'm seeing it right now isn't like I can't see a face, so I'm seeing an energy is what I'm seeing, and it feels masculine, but also so they yes okay so um, I keep hearing I don't now this is not attached to this person, but I'm also hearing the name Kevin. Do you know anybody on the other side with that name?
Ooh. Not off the top
Because
of my head.
you have a lot of activity around you, spiritual activity around you. Are you aware of that? You are, aren't you?
Yeah, to an extent.
Okay, I'm only laughing because you have a real strong. I can see your psychic, so I know you know things. And it's your third eye is just absolutely gorgeous. It's just beaming, just staring right at me. But I wondered now, are you communicating with the people that have crossed over, or are you meditating with, and working with? I guess you work with spirit guides, spiritual guides.
I once again I like to think I do, but I mean, it's like Jen was saying, gotta believe in myself more. So
I do. Okay, so you're very talented, and you have a wonderful energy, but you're very talented, gifted. I'll say better than talented. You're very gifted. I can see it in your colors. You're very intelligent. Um, I just I think you're kind of looking for something new and a new adventure in a way. I don't know if life is just kind of monotonous with you right now, kind of just like a steady line of things that are going on, or have just or that's how it's going to be for a little while, because I feel like there's this place of rest that's coming up would be a good word for it. But then I agree with Jen again. There's a lot of movement and changes that are going to be coming up around you right now. I think even more than just the confidence in yourself is to now you have a pretty good support system though. I see people, friends around you that are supportive.
I have a great support system.
Well, good, because I think that these people naturally have your best. Now they're all psychic too, aren't they? I can see all of them. Bing, little bing, bing, bing.
Yeah, most of them
Okay.
are.
Well, good. It sounds like you're involved in a community. Okay. Now, do you know Martin?
I do know Martin.
Okay. Now it all makes sense to me. Now it all makes sense to me. But he's a good person to work with. Good. Well, good, because I think the community in general that you guys are a part of is an excellent community, and that's where I started out too. But you guys just keep in mind too to stay clear of the fear stuff that's involved in that part of it, because I think more than anything, the lack of trust and the fear of what you're afraid of that you can't see is part of the reason you're struggling a little bit going forward with the psychic stuff. But you're very, very, very psychic. I mean, I can definitely see it.
Thank y'all so much.
Yeah, let me know about your new job when you get it, and tell your supervisor to leave you alone. Or let you work, for God's sake. God, get away.
Yeah, I think it's I'm wondering if it's not my dad actually, and not actually somebody at work, because my work situation is I just kind of keep my head down and don't try not to get noticed. But
It's
whenever
just
you were
so,
saying that,
well, if it resonates with you, then go with it, because it does. It's just so oppressed is a really good word to describe it. Like, I just can't. I feel like I can't express the way that I need to.
It sits heavy on your chest.
Yeah, it is. There's a real weight to it. So I know it bothers you outside of just, one instance. I know it's something that you carry around with you also.
yeah.
Well, listen, I really appreciate you calling in, John, if that's your real name. I'm
It
just
is
kidding.
my real name.
I'm just teasing you. Thank you so much for calling in, okay?
Thank y'all both.
Hey, we'll see you at the next show, okay? Tell your friends.
I will.
All right. Bye, John. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, John.
Jen, I'm sorry we ran over a little bit.
Oh, no, that's great. That's all good. No worries at all. I've enjoyed myself.
I have enjoyed having you on. If you guys want to get in contact with Jen, you can do so at jenyoung.ca, because she's from Canada. And I want to thank you again for being here. It means so much to me. You're a true inspiration to me, Jen, and I follow your posts diligently. You're such an expressive person, and you want to express in ways. You don't just, you're not like, what do you call them? When you just sit on your couch and bitch about stuff all day long. You get off your couch and go do stuff. And I love that. I'm so happy to have met you and several of the other people also that we know. I feel super, super lucky to have for you to come in my life. So I really appreciate you being here.
You, Shelby.
Okay, guys. I will be back next week, but I'm not going to tell you who's going to be with me because I don't know yet. That's the truth. I don't know who it is. I have people to pick from though, but I might be by myself. You don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we'll do a karaoke night. Probably not. That's never going to happen. You guys don't want to hear me sing. Nobody will ever come to my show again. Okay, guys, I'm going to end the show. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Au revoir.